Ladies and
What's
gentlemen,
up?
boys
Are
and
we live?
girls, yeah, we're live. I am Dave, and this is Gen X Unchained, and with me tonight is my very special guest, John from Unchained Down the Rabbit Hole. What's up, bud?
Not a whole lot. I got an
Hey,
echo in my ear.
oh, I'm sorry.
Do you hear
I don't
anything?
have. Nope.
Okay, maybe I don't hear it now. I don't know.
Alrighty. I got a sad announcement. My co-host Smoking at 11:32 yesterday lost his father.
Oh, Jesus.
Took his last breath at 11:32 a.m. Prayers go out to Luke and his family. We miss you around here, buddy. Take care of business, man. And show's gonna be here, waiting on you to get back. So much love, and send all love and prayers to the family.
Absolutely. It's hard to lose someone like that, especially your parent or anybody.
Yeah,
Actually, it's never good.
he hasn't had a very good 3 or 4 years. He lost his brother, his mother, and now his dad. And he lost his grandchild about, I'd say about 6 to 9 months ago.
Oh, jeez. Man, that's horrible.
Yeah, so he hasn't had a very good go with life
That's not
uh,
good.
last few years. So that's another reason why I put him on the show with me, is to get his mind off of things and
All
you
right.
know, let him know that I'm here to support him. And for crying out loud, I've known the dude in real life for 25 years now. So
Long time.
yeah, uh, we raised hell together, drank a lot of beer together, played a lot
Nothing wrong with that.
together. I mean, we are good. But ladies and gentlemen, everybody, all 33 viewers, 23 viewers that just popped in, my name is Dave. This is Gen X Unchained with my guest tonight, John. And you're more than welcome to stay and listen, leave comments, make sure that we give you all shout outs. And we appreciate everything everybody does and for showing up. So before the show, you were telling me that Iran tucked tail and ran and tried to make a deal with Israel, or they did make a
Well,
deal.
yeah. Truth Social, Trump put out that Iran and Israel, of course, us, we technically are in the war, but they ended that they're going to end the war. There's going to be a ceasefire that they're going to agree to end the war. So all those people out there saying it was World War III was going to start, all these sleeper cells were going to. I just think that was just people overreacting. I think
Mm.
I think people thought Iran was more powerful than what they really were. I don't think they had, other than their missiles, ballistic missiles, whatever they call them. Other than
Right.
that, they really didn't have anything. I mean, what they really had was the threat of a nuclear bomb. Now that they don't have that, they really don't have anything. There's
Right.
nothing they can do. There's no threat from them now.
Right.
So other than terrorist attacks and stuff like that, but if you paid attention, China didn't come out and really back them. Russia didn't. None of their sponsors or people that Hamas or none of them came out to defend them. So everybody kind of just left them. So I guess they really just don't have a choice. I mean, you can't go up against Israel and America and expect to survive. That's not going to happen. So
No, because you're being attacked by two sides.
right.
I mean, they launched, I think it was 2 days ago, they launched 3 or 4 stealth bombers out of Washington and launched 3 or 4 out of Missouri going one direction. The ones in Washington were going the other as decoys.
Yep.
And, I think that was the smartest thing the U.S. could ever done. Send decoys and then send in the real guys. Because that was the only way to duck and dodge their radar. Even though we were in stealth bombers, I mean, I think that was the smartest thing you could do.
Well, what amazes me, Dave, is that they didn't have no leaks about it either. Nobody leaked it out, and nobody even knew it was happening. You know what I mean? And because you damn well know, sorry to use bad language, but you know that the Democrats would have known this was coming down the pike, they would have warned Iran, which Iran knew it was coming anyway. But they would have been out there just spilling it all out. Oh, they're coming. Trump's gonna. Trump's starting World War III and all this crazy crap. But I think Trump showed real leadership. I think he brought America back to where it should be. Just in what's he been in there 6 months now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he's brought America back to where the rest of the world now knows. Look, you're not going to mess with America. We're just not going to tolerate it. We're not going to give you, like Obama did, we're not going to give you billions of dollars to help you get your nuke program going, or like Biden did. I mean, we're not going to do that. This is over. We're done. We're done with your threats. We're done with you killing American people that they've been doing for the last 2 decades. Soldiers, attacks. We're just done with it. I mean, it's not going to be tolerated by anybody. And that's the kind of leadership we haven't had that kind of leadership in this country since Ronald Reagan.
Right.
I mean,
because Ronald Reagan was one of the ones that, like Trump, just like Trump, and this is another reason why I respect Trump so much. If there's a reason for us to get military involved, why is it Reagan and Trump the only two that never told the public until after the fact that it happened?
Exactly. Yeah.
If it was a Democrat, if Joe Biden or Barack Obama was in office, or take Lyndon B. Johnson, for example, getting up on the mic talking about we're going to attack so-and-so and this is where we're going to hit. And then 2 days later, perform it, and right. I think it's going to be a success. You just told the whole world our plans. What? I mean, I don't sit there when I'm playing poker, show everybody my hand, be like, hey, look, I got 4 aces. Ha, ha, ha. And right. Go all in, Right. So, I mean, that's the smartest thing that I think any president could ever do is to keep your mouth shut. The public and the media does not need to know until after the job is done.
Exactly.
I mean,
then you jeopardize it. You jeopardize things when you open your mouth and say what you're going to do. I know Iran did make an attack on one of our bases, I think, over there, if I'm not mistaken.
In Qatar.
And they warned us that they were going to do it. And not one missile landed because of our Iron Dome that Trump's so proud of, the Iron Dome.
Right.
And it's like, that was just so they could save face. Like, well, we did we did respond. Yeah, but you responded but you let us know first. And
right.
Trump didn't down him for it or anything. He just said it's a great day. We got a ceasefire, and the war is ended in 12 days. It's the fastest war. Because Trump's not a guy that wants to stay in war. That's not his goal. He doesn't want war. That's why he did what he did. He just wanted to end this whole thing and be done with the threat. Be done with the threat to the Middle East. Be done with the threat to our people over there that are in the Middle East, stationed over there. And we're just done with it. And Trump's the kind of guy, once he's done, he's done. But he'll also let you come back. If you want to come back and act right, or you want to come to the table and negotiate, he'll let you do that. But once he's done and made up his mind, that's it. It's going to be what it's going to be. And that's leadership.
Right.
You can't draw a red line in the sand and then let them walk over it and not do anything. Like, remember Obama's line in the sand and they walked right over it, and he didn't.
He did nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
That shows weakness.
Right. We're supposed to be a country that does not bow to terrorism. And
right.
But yet the president before Trump, Barack Obama, gave billions of dollars away for a handful of soldiers.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. It was horrible.
And one of them happened to be a deserter anyway.
Yeah. Oh, God. I remember that. That was crazy, man.
You know what? I am going to mention his name because I don't care. Bergdahl.
Yep.
That burns me, man, sideways.
Yep.
Even his whole platoon even said he was a POS.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I mean, come on now. That just shows you we do not negotiate with terrorists. Now the question is what I'm hearing and seeing on Twitter, or AKA X, YouTube and other places is if Trump could do that to Iran, what's to say he don't do that to Ukraine or Russia? Well, why? What for? I mean, I haven't heard anything about Russia or Ukraine in how long? It's
Yeah,
all been about Trump, 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 Trump.
yeah. I never know. Yeah, now that you say that, you haven't really heard much about the Ukraine-Russia war lately. It's all just anything about Trump. Any way they can bash Trump, and they
Israel.
bashed him about this. And they bashed him about this attack and saying he didn't have the authority, and he doesn't need the authority. He has to go to Congress if he wants to go to war. If he wants to do what he did, he doesn't have to go to Congress. But if he
Right.
wants to go into war, take the United States into a war, then he has to go to Congress. But to do this, he didn't. Obama did. How many attacks did he do when he was president? Oh my God, countless attacks.
And how many of those went to Congress? None.
Yeah, none of them. None of
None.
them. So it's funny how they have a short memories, the Democrats or the liberals or the lefties. But the thing is, we have the receipts. We have you on video saying these things and doing these things.
Right.
And I just don't get it, man. Dave, I don't understand why they still spew that stuff out there when we could just show the video of you saying it.
Right. Will Trump go down as the president that deported most illegals out of this country? I do think he will, because with all the illegals that came in over the border, we all got to remember Barack Obama deported more illegals than Trump did in Trump's first term. I think Bush, Clinton, and Reagan all deported more illegals than Trump did in his first term, if I remember the numbers correctly.
Yep.
And now we went through the Biden inflation for 4 years, and homelessness on the rise, illegals on the rise, criminals on the rise. Nobody's doing justice. We got lawyers out there running around keeping illegals in their houses. We got judges being arrested. We got senators interrupting press conferences and being arrested and getting mad because your real name got used, Jose. Alexandro Jose Dia. That's your middle name, bud. They know nobody got your name wrong.
That's funny.
And if you listen to the 5 chickens on The View, they had a field day with that. That's not his name. Excuse you. Check his ID.
Check his ID. The View, don't get me started on them crazy people, man.
Them psychos, I don't even know how any of them get up in the morning and look themselves in the mirror knowing that the hate, the BS, and the lies they spew.
But
they sound worse than the Democratic Party.
But I think a lot of that, though, Dave, has to do with the fact that they're getting paid to do it. You know what I mean? They're making tons of money to lie. They're making tons of money. So I guess if somebody's going to pay you to get up there and lie, what the hell? Go get your pay, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I don't even know who watches that stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's people that do, but I don't think very many do anymore. I think all that stuff is dying down now. And that's what's making the Democrats so mad. They have no control over social media. They have no control over anything anymore. They've lost total control. And as long as they keep going down the road they're going down, they're going to be in trouble for the next couple election cycles, I would say.
Well, I live in Illinois. I'm 3.5 hours south of Chicago. And I know for a fact that whole city, especially the Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, have flipped red. Especially with J.B. Pritzker, our governor, that fat piece of never mind. He just signed more bills to raise our taxes. Our gas is going up anywhere from 45 to 80 cents, depending on where you live.
Holy crap.
You know what that money's going to? To hide, house, and Medicare illegals. None of it's going into the streets, the schools, the neighborhoods, small businesses, none of that.
That's
You
crazy.
know, when J.B. Pritzker expanded gambling in the state of Illinois and allowed all these places to get slot machines, okay, everybody warned him that it would lead to more homelessness, divorces, bankruptcies than anything else in Illinois had ever done. And it has proven that. I can't
Really?
go to Walmart without running into 6 homeless people. And that's just standing on the corner begging for money. That's not including the 12 that are hanging out behind Starbucks 2 blocks from my house. You know, so that is just, you know, appalling. Raising our cigarette. Okay, I live between Indiana and Missouri. I could go to Indiana and get cheaper cigarettes than I can here. But if I go over to Missouri, I could get cigarettes at $5 a pack. I could get gas 90 cents cheaper a gallon, and we're neighbors right next door.
That's crazy.
If I had a way to have my hands on an endless supply of dry ice, I would literally go over there and do all my shopping over there. I would burn the 2 hours to drive there, to fill up my gas tank, to do my grocery shopping, and to come home. That's how bad it is. You know, so I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to explain this to everybody so they know. My wife is disabled. I am the only one working. I cannot work a full-time job. I have to work part-time job because I have to be here to take care of my wife. That's why you see the donate symbol all the time around my name. Okay. I DoorDash for about 2 hours around noon, between 11 and 2. I DoorDash to bring in extra money. That's just to pay for my gas to get back and forth to my part-time night job. So I could go catch a paycheck from there just to be able to pay my rent and my bills. I am flat broke. I had to close both my bank accounts and my savings account because under Joe Biden, I went from being flush with $6,000 in the bank to not even a year and a half after him being in office to being flat broke and living paycheck to paycheck again.
Happened to a lot of people.
You know, and I'm not the only one. You know, and that, yeah, you're right. It happened to a ton of people, but it also has to do with the Illinois taxes. Our property taxes are the second highest in the nation behind California.
Damn.
Yeah, second highest in the nation. If you own a house, it's $250,000 house, let's say on 1.5 acres, 2 acres of land. Your property taxes are now $36,000 a year.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Exactly. That's how they don't care about if the people who really need the help get the help. They don't care.
No, they don't.
You know, and I should take videos of going around town and showing how bad the streets are around this city. And we're in the capital. And how bad everything is in Springfield. I got so many KFC packed up, closed doors, left. KFC. There's not one single KFC in town because of the business taxes are too high.
Well, if they raise taxes that high, businesses are going to leave. People are going to leave. So what are they going to do in that situation then? They're not going to have anybody to support it.
Well, yeah, they got Walmart.
Oh, Walmart. Don't get me started on woke Walmart.
I'm just saying, man, we got 3 Walmarts, but no KFCs.
That's crazy.
And we got all these small mom and pop shops, so-called mom and pop shops, so-called, that are given free rides because they are not American. They are from places like India.
Yeah.
You know, they have no taxes to pay for 7 years. Well, who pays their taxes? We do.
Yeah.
But they're popping up all over the place. But you can't get one black business to pop open. You can't get one white business or a mixed business or whatever business you want to open. Good luck coming here and trying to open up a business.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard.
Yeah, one of my favorite places to go ride at is I go to Gatlinburg, and then I go to the mountains or up in the mountains and ride, Smoky Mountains or North Carolina or whatever. And I noticed the last few years down in Gatlinburg, it used to be, and I'm going to just say it because it offends somebody, it offends. I don't care. Gatlinburg used to be owned. Majority of the businesses were owned by the people that lived in that area or whatever. And now I've noticed that a lot of the businesses have sold out to foreign people. And I have noticed that the prices have skyrocketed. I know that's not just due to that, but it's due to the economy and things that happened under Biden. But I noticed that the quality of the service has gone down. It just don't look the same. It doesn't have the same feel. It's because it ain't the native people in that area are losing control of those businesses, and you got these these foreigners coming in and buying them because they're getting those tax breaks and they're getting this and they're getting that, but they're not putting the money back into the business. You know what I'm saying? It's making Gatlinburg look horrible, and I think at some point Gatlinburg is just going to be a thing of the past because they're basically running it into the ground.
Well, that's like Kankakee, Illinois. Kankakee, Illinois, further north, just south of Chicago. Man, that place used to be a tourist destination. It's not. People have their cars stolen out of their driveways. It's like Goshen, Indiana. And nothing ever gets done. The cops' hands are tied. Now, I talked to a county cop who comes into my work, and I basically asked him the question. I was like, so what is your thought on, Pritzker doing this stuff with the cops, not working with ICE and all this? And he was like, we hate it, but we have to follow what the boss says. I was like, yeah, but you swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of America and the state of Illinois. So how are you having to follow what he says and break your oath? He was like, it's a twisted situation, man. He was like, I'm just trying to survive and catch a paycheck right now until things turn on. He said that he has family in Chicago and they're all diehard Democrats up until last year.
Yeah, I was going to say they still are.
and he's half black and half Hispanic. And he's like, he was like, it's crazy. He was like, his hands are tied. Their hands are tied. The state cops' hands are tied. Our local law enforcement is 3.5 hours away from Chicago, and their hands are tied. And it doesn't make sense. The prices don't make sense. Property tax don't make sense. And I think the one thing I like coming out of Florida was what Ron DeSantis said. When you buy a house, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes.
No,
you pay property taxes every year, then you don't own your house. How's that make sense?
You never own it.
Right. And I have not seen another state except for one, which I don't remember which one it is, except for one, agree with DeSantis and start moving the goalpost to actual real home ownership. And I'm all for the military vets, and I believe we have enough abandoned houses that we could use what's that program? Habitat for Humanity to pick up these houses that are abandoned and rebuild them and put homeless vets in them. They should never ever have to be without a house. They wouldn't put their lives on the line, and they should come home with a free house, free Medicare, free medical, 100%, no questions asked. No matter how long you served, no questions asked.
Yeah, because you served your country, you deserve that. Yeah,
and that's the least, and that's the minimum we could do.
Absolutely.
But
there shouldn't be any homeless vets. There shouldn't be vets killing themselves out there. None of that should be happening in this country. It's right. Sad. It's very sad.
But when you have people like the Bidens, Obamas, J.B. Pritzkers, Tampon Tim Walls,
oh God, yeah.
People like that who rather pander to the 1% of the population, the Twisted Teas, the Black Lives Matter, the black version of the KKK. The list goes on. You want to pander to them guys, and the George Soros of the country. You're not expanding your base very well, guys. You're not caring about the people. You're only caring about your pocket.
Yep.
No matter how
Pretty
much you
obvious.
So when J.B. Pritzker put it on the books for us to vote about making Illinois medical marijuana legal, this is how twisted everything is, guys. When Pritzker made it legal for medical marijuana, not recreational, just medical, the first 5 people that got a license to open up a medical dispensary was his son and his 4 best friends. He became when they legalized marijuana for recreational, the same 5 people got the first license, and they didn't have to pay a dime. But everyone else, if you came to Illinois and said, I'm going to open up a dispensary, be sure to chuck out about $1 million.
Oh my God.
And to kiss some Democrat ass. Because that's what's going to get it done. Most of the marijuana that's sold is all Pritzker owned or related or friends with.
Damn.
They all got their hands in the cookie jar, man.
Now, shouldn't that be illegal though? That should be like an insider job type thing or something. Insider.
Well, here's the thing. He's not president. He's just governor. Don't fall underneath the same federal rule.
Jesus.
Yeah, but lo and behold, we got President Barack Obama, whose net worth not doubled, not tripled, but quadrupled.
Yeah.
The time he was in for 8 years, and it wasn't the $450,000 a year he was making to be president either.
No.
You guys were talking about last night on your show about congressmen, senators, and representatives they make roughly around $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's before taxes.
Right.
Just the application is $25,000. Where's that at, Ray? In Tennessee?
That's crazy.
Or did you look that up here in Illinois? Because I'm pretty sure that's the price. But what I was saying was, here, I'm going to push that up. But what I was saying is that, God, where was I?
Oh, you're talking about Congress and them making money.
Oh, yeah. $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
They give themselves raises, but do nothing for the country.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is like this. If you're an architect and you're a damn good architect, you want to make $150,000, $200,000 a year. Good luck on finding that job. You better be damn good.
You better be damn good. You're right.
Okay. But if you're going to be somebody who wears a suit that costs more than my paycheck per month and sit on your ass and push papers and write out bills, I don't think you deserve $200,000 a year. I think you should be maxed and capped out at 125.
Yeah.
And I think you should only serve in Congress, House or Senate, in Congress for 2 terms, just like the president. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
They say that's not enough time for them to make any kind of.
Well, if that's the case they're taking, if that's the case they're making, then it looks like we're going to have to boost up another 4 years of presidency and make it 12 years.
Well, the thing is, though, they'll never ever be, Dave. They're never going to pass a law saying they can only have to serve 2 terms or 2 times in the Congress or the Senate. And the reason that is because they're the ones that have to vote on it. So they're never going to vote that in because then that takes them out. So that's a situation that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. There's never going to be term limits in Congress or the Senate because they're never going to vote for it.
And I believe that, and I believe exactly what you're saying. And the reason is because if everybody remembers the first term of Trump, what was the first 4 years? Always, every 2 months, come up. Term limits for Congress, term limits for Congress, term limits for Congress. But this time around, I ain't heard a peep out of the Republicans about term limits, term limits, term limits.
Nope.
So if they can't
I
get a
agree
bill
with you,
or
Ray.
a law, if they can't get a law or a bill passed within 2 terms, they're not good at their job.
Well,
I know that's right, Ray.
there's some truth to that, but what people don't understand when it comes to passing, getting legislation through, and get things through the Senate, through the Congress, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy. People like to come out and attack the Republicans because, well, this senator saying no to this bill, or this senator saying no to what's in this bill. But you got to look at it this way: he's supposed to be representing his, state and the people of his state. So if he feels like that's not going to benefit his state, I can understand him not voting for it or not liking it. So it's just you have to, it's like with the one big, beautiful bill that he wants to get passed. You can't just go up there and say, this is what I want, this is what you're going to do, and then it's going to pass. You got to negotiate. There's things you're going to get. There's things you're not going to get. People say, well, they want all the pork in the bill. They just want one clean bill, and that's it. Pass it, move on. It just doesn't work that way. You have to negotiate. You have to give and take. It's just like being in a marriage. You have to give and take. Or being in a relationship of any kind, or being on a job of any kind. There's a give and take in everything. Now, does it go too far sometimes and bottle things up? Yes. But it's never going to be an easy thing. When any bill goes up to Congress or to the Senate, it's going to always be somebody that doesn't like it, somebody that's going to hold it up, somebody that's going to say, well, this is not in the best interest of my state. So I get that. But that being said, there has to be some kind of, you have to give in somewhere. You can't, like I'm saying, you have to give in somewhere or nothing's going to ever get through. And people get mad and they say, well, you shouldn't do this, and there should be this in the bill, and there should be that in the bill. But I'm sorry, that's just the way it works and how it's always worked. I mean, and otherwise you're not going to get anything passed. You're not going to get anything at all done if you don't give a little and, give and take. You have to.
Right. And just so everybody knows who hasn't been here since the show started, I'm Dave. That's John. This is Gen X Unchained. And with that being said, everything that Trump has put in the bill, just like every businessman does with a business deal, there's always room for discussion and to make deals. Yep. You want a little bit of salt tax? Well, I want a little bit more freedom on where we could drill oil. You want a little bit of this? Well, I want a little bit more of this.
Right.
So I'll give you that if you give me this. Not everything in the big, beautiful bill was put there maliciously by Donald Trump. No. Not everything in the bill was put there for Donald Trump's enjoyment. What he did was he created one big bill and let the door open to make deals, to bargain. It's like go to a flea market. Same thing.
Yeah.
This guy wants this 57 Ford hubcap that I got that he hasn't seen that he's for his car, but he's got a Hellcat muffler set from an old Dodge from 1972. So I mean, I'll trade.
Right.
But what's it worth to you? I mean,
right.
So
that's how it works.
Yeah. Just how it works. And Moken, if you're watching right now and you're out there listening, man, my heart goes out to you, bro. You and your family once again.
Prayers to you, man. Yeah, you have to make deals. It's like say you're looking for a motorcycle or a car or whatever in your marketplace. You're going to go to that guy. You're going to go look at, you're going to set up a time. You're going to go look at that vehicle, whatever it may be. And you're going to go in there and offer him less money. You know what I mean? You're going to. You're going to bring a certain amount of money with you. and you're going to say, this is what I'll offer you. And this is, if the guy takes it, he takes it. But that's the way it works anywhere. That's the way it works in Congress. That's the way it works in the Senate. That's just the way everything runs. You know what I mean? You got to get the best deal you can get, because you're not going to get exactly everything you want all the time. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get everything you want at any time. That's just the way it is. So you have to work it, and you have to be smart enough to get the most important things to you out of that bill. So if you got to give a little, and he's going to take a hit from people saying, well, he shouldn't have gave that. Well, you got to understand, he had to give that to get this. Maybe he had to get that. Maybe he had to give whatever it might be to get you your tax-free, no taxes on tips. Maybe he had to give that to get, to where senior citizens don't have to pay taxes on their Social Security. There's deals have to be made, or nothing's going to get done. So you have to give and take. I mean, that's just how it works. And you can't be upset about that. That's never going to change. That's just the way it's always going to be. Just like if you have, say, you're contracted somebody to do your house, what are you going to do? You're going to take bids from a bunch of people, right, to build your house. You're going to go with the cheapest bid. I mean, that's how it works. That's the system. I know people don't like it, but you can't just go up there and be a king.
Right.
And say, this is the way it's going to be.
And just like Trump said, there's only one king in America, and his name's Jesus.
That's right.
So everybody remember that when you want to sit there and rant and rave and go, sound like a bunch of clucking chickens, And here's another thing that killed me too. I'm starting to see more and more people about the push and pull. It's a push and pull, right? You're right.
It is.
It's a push and pull.
What it is.
And not to change the subject on that style of politics, but here's another style of politics that I'm sick and tired of hearing, and I just started seeing more and more of it lately. I thought it was done and over with, but obviously not. Your ID. Okay, well, if you don't want an ID to vote, then I shouldn't have to have a credit check to rent a house. You don't want an ID to vote, I shouldn't have to show my ID when I go buy a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
You can't have everything because you need an ID to join the military. You need one to rent a house or to buy a house. You need one to get a loan from a bank. You need one to buy cigarettes and alcohol. You need one to buy marijuana products in a marijuana legal state. Okay. And for those of you who are under the age of 21, some of you guys I feel bad for, because you're coming back from the military and you can't buy a beer. I agree that you should be able to, but here's the one thing that kills me. You 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds is now old enough to go into vape shops like the one I work for, like some kid tried to do the other day. I don't care what vape shop you go into and buy that THCA. You're not getting away with that with me, because, bud, I card everybody, and I don't care if you are regular. You're not causing me a $10,000 fine. I can't.
Hell no.
I can't afford a $10 fine. All right. The ladies of the View say the people don't need an ID, but people have to have an ID just to sit in the audience and get in that building. Exactly. You can't go onto a studio lot without passing through security.
That is funny, man. The hypocrisy of those people is amazing, man.
God.
Everybody should have an ID, and you should have an ID to vote. You should present an ID. You do in this state. I had to give my ID to vote. They took my ID.
Here in Illinois, they didn't want my ID, but I forced them to take it anyway.
They have to take your. They have to. That's the law. You have to show your ID. I mean, now some states they ignore the law, I guess, and we know what those states are.
Right.
But it's not a bad thing. It's just saying, hey, you're an actual citizen of the United States, and you actually have a right to vote. If you're not a citizen of the United States, you have no right to vote in our elections, period. I don't care. Whether it's state level, I don't care if federal level, whatever level it is, you have no right to vote here if you're not a citizen of the United States.
Yeah, and don't push them back, because I'm going to tell you this right now. I was doing some research on that, and back in the late 1800s, the early 1900s, you had to show your birth certificate to prove that you were born here in America. So don't
Really?
push me to go back to that, because there was no
Mm.
such thing as IDs and driver's license back then. You know, that was your form of identification, was your birth
Was your birth
certificate,
certificate?
you know.
So you still had to show a form of ID then. You were showing the fact that
Exactly.
you were a legal legal citizen
Yep.
of the United States. So what's the difference? There is none.
You had to
You
have
had
an
to have
ID.
you had to have your birth certificate when you first go get your license for the first time. I mean, you had to have those things.
Ray said you have to have an ID to buy Alka-Seltzer at Walmart. No, but there is some places where you have to go into and show an ID before you could get Sudafed, which is
Yeah.
completely understandable considering that's one of the number one key ingredients in crystal meth.
I understand.
So, which I understand that.
Yeah.
But to hold my 16 pack of AA batteries behind the counter because of thieves,
That's crazy, man.
to hold my Bic lighters, my 5-pack of Bic lighters behind the counter because of thieves,
That's crazy.
dude. Walmart, I guess, had lost their gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, because I went in there to buy, what was it, a Mother's Day card for my wife, and there was a damn security bar on that thing.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, on a
Damn.
Hallmark Mother's Day card. And the only way I
we don't
found
have
out
none of
is
that here.
because I used self checkout, which I hate that freaking thing.
I do too, man. I hate it. I hate it.
I went into Walmart January 1st this year, and I went up to the front desk and asked to speak to the manager. I said, "Can I get my W-2?" And they were like, "Did you work here?" I was like, "I use self checkout, so obviously I do." You know, so that's like when I do DoorDash and I go into restaurants and they try to tell me to make my own drinks for the order. No, I don't work for you. I'm
No, you
supposed
don't
to
work
pick
for
up
them.
and deliver.
That's
You know
crazy,
what?
man.
You know, I'm like, whatever. Okay, just give me the damn cup. Do your job. Obviously, I'm doing it for you. Let me get partial of your paycheck there, bud.
Yeah, give me some of that money because I'm doing your job.
You're being serious at Walmart? Where's Ray live? Tennessee, right?
Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, Ray, that in Tennessee you have to show an ID to buy Alka-Seltzer at Walmart? Are you freaking kidding me? This
Man,
is why we have mass deportations going on right now, because of shit like this.
Not to change the subject, but I guess I am a little bit. But I did see earlier today that Trump ordered whatever department takes care of it to remove 1.6 million people from Medicare. So that must be the illegals that are getting it illegally.
Yeah.
So
and that's another reason why Illinois taxes are going up, was because Trump was doing that. And Pritzker was like, you know how Illinois is. He's like, oh, there are workers. They work in the stores and stuff. No, you want to know why Americans ain't working in the stores? Because you're allowing these crooked companies to pay less hour minimum wage to illegals than hiring the people that live 2 blocks away, other than hiring somebody who's going to send our money to another country, and then we never see it again. 824. Hey, bud. And Ray said, yes, he is serious. They're in Tennessee. They make you show ID to buy Alka-Seltzer.
What's Alka-Seltzer ain't got anything in it that you could use that could make anything, does it? I don't think so.
Not that I know of.
I didn't even think they sold Alka-Seltzer anymore. I used to use that a lot when I was a kid when I got an upset stomach. But I haven't used that.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Do they really?
Yeah. Wow. But that's not. I mean, if you go to the medicine aisle at our Walmart, they got those security doors that you lift up and they make a little beeping noise, and you grab what you want and shut it. And then a camera kicks on and records your every move. And you
are you shitting me?
You can see a little screen, like a 9-inch screen that'll light up at the end of the aisle, and it's crystal
No.
clear picture of a camera. When you go to lift that up, it starts recording, turns on, and makes sure you know that you're being recorded. For deodorant, for stuff like Alka-Seltzer, Tylenol, that stuff. Oh yeah, and Dollar General around here has the same thing.
That's bad.
It's crazy, dude. But when
Yeah,
I visited Oklahoma last year and went into their Walmart, none of that. Oh man, dude, you know those people will actually walk around the store with you and help you find what you're looking for in Oklahoma. When's the last time anybody has ever done that?
that's funny.
I'm dead serious. Me and my wife went there. My wife went to Walmart. We walked in. We were looking for a couple of things, and this lady walked up to her and she asked if I needed help. I said, "No, I'm just browsing." My wife's like, "I'm looking for some shirts," and she's like, "Come with me. I'll help you out, honey." And they spent like 30 minutes in the aisle, and she stayed there the whole time next to my wife. How do you like this? What about this? This looks like it might fit you. You know, and I'm like, where'd this come from?
Yeah, that don't happen around here. I can tell you that right now.
It don't happen here. You walk into Walmart, you getting dirty looks because you walk through the door. You know, they got greeters that say, "Welcome to Walmart, get your shit and get out." You know?
Yeah. You know what I hate the most about Walmart, though, when you bring up Walmart, is that when you leave the store, they want to look at your receipt. And they just watched you check out in their self-checkout lanes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said to the guy one time, I said, "I ain't showing you shit." He goes, "What?" I said, "I'm not showing you anything. You just watched me check out over here this machine that I was no more than 20 feet away from your ass. And you're asking me to show you a receipt. So you're basically telling me I got to check myself out. And then you're going to basically accuse me of stealing because you want to look at my receipt." I'm like, this is freaking ridiculous. I went the hell off on the guy. I know it's not his fault. He's just doing his job. But to me, that's a hell of an insult, man. It's like, Are you serious? You're making me check out myself. I remember like 20 years ago, there wasn't those things, maybe a little longer. And you had every aisle open, you know. Back when Walmart was run by
the old man.
What's his name? Yeah, the old man. And you didn't have all that crap, man. But that's insulting to me that you're going to check my receipt after I done checked myself out and did bagged my own stuff, and you want to check my receipt like I stole something. I mean, that just bothers me. I had to say that.
I'm not going to mention his name, but there's a guy out there that I know that lives here in Springfield now, who's retired from Walmart after working there for 40 years. And he didn't work like in the store. He worked in like the warehouses to where the stuff came in, that he loaded trucks and then they left the warehouse to go to every store to drop off.
Right.
They wasted zero time from the time the old man died, which was like, what, 92, 93 or something like that? I don't remember. When the old man died, he said it literally took 2 weeks from the time they buried him to switch 90% of American goods out and bring in Chinese, Ethiopia.
They already had it set up.
They already was working the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, so these companies don't care about us, people. Just so you know, none of these companies do. Pfizer don't, Walmart doesn't, Amazon don't. They care about the bottom dollar, and that's how much money they can put in their pocket from yours.
But the unfortunate thing about it, Dave, is that's where we have to shop. We have nowhere else to shop. Even if you shop from Amazon, your stock is the same thing. It's no different than Walmart. You just get it delivered.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I mean, people say, "Well, I just won't shop there." Okay, where are you going to shop then? Where are you going to go?
Where are you going to go buy your underwear, your shirts, your socks, your shaving cream?
I laugh my ass off when they say, "Well, I'll just order from Amazon." I'm like, it's no different. It's no different other than you're just getting it delivered. That's
you're paying into the same system, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I guess if you want to buy razors, ladies and gentlemen, you could go to henrys.com. But guess what? Their razor factories in Germany.
Exactly.
It's not even American made, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, Dude, it reminds me of how much hate Gillette got when they used to get hate on their commercial, The Best a Man Could Get.
Yeah.
Remember how that started off year one of Biden's uh, presidency? When he became president, everybody had a fit over Gillette, The Best a Man Could Get. Well, what about a woman? Who cares? What about a woman? They have women products too, but they don't do commercials about them because they don't know what a woman is.
Right. That's true. They don't know what a woman is. That's funny.
So if women could be men and men could be women, I guess it's the best a man could get, right?
Oh man.
I'm just saying.
What a crazy time though. What a crazy time though. The last 4 years has been, man. It's just so stuff that I never thought I'd dreamed I would ever see or would even think of seeing with the DEI and well, I don't want to say too many things that I shouldn't say, but just everything with
the 4 years,
transgender.
his 4 years of presidency reminded me of watching an Alfred Hitchcock show, The Hitchhiker or Birds or something.
Yeah, it's just
I mean,
crazy, man. Just
shoot
crazy.
me now.
Never see anything like. I hope we never see anything like that again. I hope that this all just disappears. But I'll say one thing. I'll say one thing for the Democrats. And there's now let me take that back. There's Democrats out there that are good people. There is the old Democrats, but the left wing radicals, I'll say one thing for them. They're not dumb. They know how to get their voice out there and they know how to get things done. But I think the American people have just about had enough of it. I think we're just about done with it. And
they're done with identical politics, the identity politics that they are pushing. People are not.
Yeah, we're just done with it.
We're sick of listening to the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, the Ilhan Omars, the Rashida Tlaibs.
Yeah, she wants him impeached now because he bombed Iran. She wants him impeached.
I got on Twitter today, X, and I went to her page just because she had said something that kind of perturbed me at like 9 o'clock this morning. I went on there and I was like, you need to do us all a favor. Just disappear back behind the bar, serve drinks, and shut your mouth.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one, man.
So
I agree.
It's just, I don't know, man. They're just they've all went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And when who did they remove from Congress? I heard they removed Jasmine Crockett from Congress. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. I never looked it up. I don't. Yeah, I really heard that. It was on YouTube and it was on Twitter, but I'm not for sure. Let me see here if I could find that.
That would be great. That would just make my day. What's that other lady's name? What's that other lady's name? She's a Muslim. What's her name?
Ilhan Omar?
Yeah. They need to get rid of her because basically she shouldn't be allowed to be in Congress because she denies it. She denies everything for America. She's not American. She doesn't, go. I mean, she needs to go, man. They need to get rid of her. No doubt.
So what I'm finding now is that was not true.
Yeah. Damn.
But what they do need to do with her is silence her.
Yeah, I need to censor her or something. They need to just shut her down.
Exactly.
Her and AOC. Though, I love the fact that people say, well, AOC is the new face of the Democrat Party. And I think, wow, praise God. We'll never have to worry about another Democrat president again.
Exactly.
What I mean? It's over for them. Because if that's the head of that's the face of their party now, they're done. They'll never be in power again. They're done.
Right. 2-4 said, I love Trump. Wish we had a man like him. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hey, I agree with you 2-4. But other than that, man, I mean, they just completely shot their own foot.
Yeah.
Like Elmer Fudd.
But they do it repeatedly.
Yeah.
They do it repeatedly. They don't learn. It's like the whole time during this past election when they were trying to put Trump in jail. And I'm like, every time they would do something, I'm like, you're making him stronger. Go ahead. Every time you charge him with a charge, anytime you do what you do and you hold him in court, you're just making this man stronger. He knew it. People are like, I don't know how he's not stressed out. And I thought the same too. I'm like, how's he not stressed out? How's this man? Is he a man or is he a machine? I'm thinking, how is he going through all this stuff? But I think he knew. He didn't care. He said, let me go through all this because this is just going to make me stronger. It's going to make me more popular. And it's going to put me in the White House. And it exactly did that. The man, I don't care what you say about the man. He's not a real politician. He doesn't speak well. There's times he annoys me. I ain't going to lie. But he's smarter than hell. This guy is smart, man. He's got to be one of the smartest people I've ever seen. I mean,
Right.
he used it. He used everything they did to make him stronger and to get him reelected. He used every charge they charged him with, everything they did. He wanted it out there. He wanted it to be seen. That's why he was always out there talking about it, because he knew that was going to win him that election. And it did. It basically did. Not to mention that they had Biden and crazy lady running. I mean,
Right.
who was going to vote for either one of them? But I mean, they just pushed him. And he even said it. He said, I heard him say it one time, well, they're just pushing me right into the White House. And they were. I mean, it's just, and when they would do something to him or charge him with those charges, popularity would go higher. I'm like, can't they see that? Don't they see that they're actually helping him? I mean, are they smart? Are they dumb? What the hell is the problem here? I'm like, don't you see that I'm telling you, if they would have ran a good candidate other than Biden and they would have just left Trump alone, chances are Trump would have barely ever won that election. But they ain't smart enough to know that. They was not smart enough to realize that. And
Well,
it's
my
just
question
amazing.
for you, since you said that, my question for you is this right here. Who would they have run against Trump other than Biden or Kamala? Who is smart enough? Joe Manchin left Congress, so it wouldn't have been him.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe.
You know what I'm saying? So he left, and he has no ambitions to be president. He's done made that point clear. You know, I mean, I guess you could have went with, a female, but America does not want a female being president right now. Still to this day, 2025. I'm saying that
I'm gonna go out and on a limb, and I don't think it's much of a limb, Dave. And I'm gonna say they'll never, ever will be one, because I'm not saying that women are, well, I'll just say it, and I may piss off some people. That's just how it is. But women are not built for it. Women are built in a way that they contribute to things differently. If you have a woman in charge, they see things differently. They think, they make decisions with emotionally. And I know this is because, I'm sorry, this is your channel. I shouldn't be saying this.
No, say whatever, man.
But they're built in a way. They're nourishers. They think emotionally. If they had to bomb a country, they had to go to war, immediately they would start thinking of kids, and they would start thinking of children, which I understand. But you can't let you can't make those decisions emotionally. You have to make those decisions with the facts. And I think women are not built that way. You understand what I'm trying to say? They're not built to make those kind of decisions.
I agree with you 100%. And the reason is because they lead by emotions. They don't lead by of knowledge or common sense. Because I'm not saying all women, and I don't care if you hate me or not. This is my show. I'm going to say the truth. Women are too damn emotional.
Yep.
They will bomb somebody and then send them candy and flowers and get on their hands and knees and rub a feet and rub a back and make you feel better and say sorry.
But Dave, that's the whole point. That's how they were built, though. They were built that way for a reason. Like the man, it's like a family unit. The man was built to be the leader of the family, the strong person, the guy that does, that keeps the family together, keeps things going, the leader. And the woman's there to be the nourisher, the one that's, that takes care of, the emotional side of everything, and that can rein the man in sometimes when he's going off, out of kilter. You know what I mean? To be there to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, I'm not saying that women are useless or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Women have their place, men have their place. I mean, it's just how it is. But women being president and being in charge of a nation is a totally different thing. Because, like I said, they'll run it with emotion, and you can't do that. You can't run it like that. You can't run it where because women want to be pleasers and they want to be caregivers and take care of everything, and you can't run it like that. It just will not work.
I know two females out there right now, and I'm going to mention this loud and proud, that has balls and thinks like a man. One is Sarah B.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yeah,
and what's her name? Not Kristi Noem, but is it Kristi Noem? No, it can't be Kristi Noem. Old girl that Trump appointed that used to be Hawaii's governor, that was in the Marines. It's military. Is that Kristi Noem? No. Let me see if I can't find it. Oh God, I can't think of her name. And really, I think this chick. Thank God I'm married. That's all I'm saying. Oh God. Trump, let me do a quick search right here.
Go ahead.
Trump.
But I think it's just I think that, in my opinion, there'll never be a woman president because of that reason. And I just think that I think women agree. I think a lot of women agree with that statement too, more than what you think. Now, someone will say, why can't I be president? Well, but most women, if they had a chance to vote for Hillary, they didn't. They had a chance to vote for Kamala, they didn't. Because I think most women understand that that's not a woman's position to be in. It's for a man to be in. And but that's not saying I'm disregarding women, that they're not important or anything like that, because they are. They're important to the family unit. They're important to raising children. They're very important. They contribute in many ways to society. I'm not saying they can't run a business or a corporation or be successful. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying they can do all those things. But there's just some things women can't do that men can do. And there's certainly things that women can do that men can't do. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has their place. And I don't think that America will ever accept a woman president. I just don't think they will. Now, I could be wrong. I could be just 4 or 5 years or 8 years from now, I could be slapped in the face and there is one. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think if it did, it would be a total disaster.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, Tulsi Gabbard, yeah.
Whew, she's a fox, and she's smart.
But you can't vote for her because she's good looking, man.
I know that, but what makes her more attractive to me, okay, is the fact that she's got the cojones to get shit done.
Right.
Obviously, if that wasn't,
I guess there's exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, there is some exceptions to the rule. Now, yeah, married 32 years on family structure is traditional. Exactly. Family structure is traditional. And
not these days.
Yeah, but not these days. It's okay. So August 8th of this year, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be married to my high school sweetheart for 30 freaking years.
Congratulations.
30 years.
It's a long time.
Okay. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. We having a down right now. But I got to keep the faith, man, but
Absolutely.
There is some women out there that break the mold, and you're talking like Tulsi Gabbard, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, other women like that who break the mold. The women on the left, other than Tulsi Gabbard, don't fit that criteria. I could vote for a woman who's like that. I could honestly get behind a woman who's like that, but a woman who's like Kamala Harris or AOC or Rashida Tlaib or anything like that, no, that's not. No, I'm not letting our country fall to stupidity.
No,
I will create the biggest militia at
Well,
that
and I
point.
think that's why the women didn't vote for Kamala or Hillary, because they see them for what they were. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not. I'd rather have this guy. You know what I mean? Than have them. You know what I mean? Because they just and if the AOC thinks she's ever going to be president, she's having trouble in her own district right now. They're going after her. People in her own district are going after her. So
Right.
I think she might not even make it through the next, or whenever she's
The only good thing I have about Clinton is the fact that Bill Clinton was the only president in my lifetime that had no debt, that didn't accumulate any debt in office. And I didn't believe that until I looked it up.
I don't even believe that now.
It's true. He didn't
Really?
he did not acquire any debt he didn't add any debt to the national deficit.
Well, that's because he worked with the Speaker of the House. Oh, what was his name? Shit. Who was the Speaker of the House that he worked with a lot? Gray-haired guy. Oh, what was
Newt
his name?
Gingrich?
Yeah, he worked really closely with him and got things done. And he was a Republican.
Yeah.
So there is some things that Clinton did do that was good. He slashed welfare for people. He took away a lot of things, but he also destroyed manufacturing in this country.
Yes,
That's
he
the
did.
thing he did. He destroyed
it. And what really sad is to follow him up would be another Democrat, so-called face Republican, who didn't help matters any. Actually, he didn't even run the country, ladies and gentlemen. Dick Cheney did. And Dick Cheney is the attempted murderer who walked away scot-free.
Yep. Dick Cheney ran the country. You're exactly right.
Dick Cheney ran this country. Bush was too stupid. Bush was too dumb. He'd believe a fly could fart rainbows.
Yeah, I mean, I look back on that, and I had a lot of respect for Bush at first, and then I started realizing this guy is stupid. You know what I mean? You start seeing things. But I didn't want to. I voted for him twice. I'll admit it, but because I didn't want to vote for the alternative. You know what I mean? So
right.
And I didn't want to just not vote. I hate when people say, "Well, just don't vote then." I'm like, no, go do what you have a right to vote. And that's a big deal. You know what I mean? That's a big thing we have here in this country. Go vote. Got to vote for somebody. Write yourself in if you have to. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
Go vote. But yeah. But the things that Bush did, the things that Bush was a part of, and Dick Cheney. Oh man, we could go down to straight down the rabbit hole on that. But the thing is, it's not rabbit holes. It's the truth. And those people, those two men were the worst thing to ever. Well, I'll say the worst three men that ever, besides Biden, were Dick Cheney, Bush, and Obama. They did the most damage to this country than any other president, I believe, in my lifetime.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
You're not wrong. Horrible. You're not wrong. Because we had no business going back to Iraq.
No business at all.
None whatsoever. I think it was completely Bush was being lied to, not only by Dick Cheney, but his military. Yep. And I think a piece of Bush wanted to go back to Iraq to finish what his dad didn't get done.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
That's my opinion.
Yep.
And Dick Cheney ran the country.
Yep.
There was no way Bush was smart enough to even, how the hell he even got elected is a total beyond me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my brother just confirmed that the war is over.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about that at the beginning of the show.
The war is over.
Iran got their teeth kicked in, and now they're tucking tail and running.
The 12-day war.
Yeah. The big expense on the world. World War III started for 12 days. There you go.
No, that's going to make the Democrats look very damn stupid with all the shit they were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh no. It's going to cause World War III. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why are we attacking these innocent people, these innocent lives? The Houthis did nothing.
Yeah.
Iran did nothing. Exactly. No, but they launched 25 missiles at Israel, and Israel said, okay, you want to launch 25? We got 50. You want 50?
Exactly.
We got 100. The Iron Dome's no joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's what
Oh, it
Trump
is no joke.
over here.
That's awesome, man. That Iron Dome is awesome, man. To watch
That
it
thing
work
is
like
no
that.
joke.
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
know?
awesome.
So, but
We need that Iron Dome here.
yeah, we need 3 of them. One in the center of the states and one on each side.
Yeah.
And we're covered. But we have, as Lolly said last night on your show, as I was watching, for every one blade of grass in America, we have a gun.
That's right.
You know, so people who think that America is bloodthirsty, we're not bloodthirsty.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No,
We're just protecting our own.
that's right.
And if people in America want to sit there who are born and raised Americans that say we're bloodthirsty, I want you to get on a plane and I want you to take a trip to Iran. I want you to go to the Congo. I want you to go to North Korea and tell me who's bloodthirsty now. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. That little short fat bastard in Korea, North Korea, don't twist him. If he can make a law outlawing a leather jacket that he wears and the people can't wear it, only he can, that's bloodthirsty. If you live in a country where half your countrymen, China, are starving to death and you're using slave labor for Temu and Amazon and whatever whatnot, yeah, you're bloodthirsty. Yep. America will not. Leave us the frick alone.
Yep, I agree.
You don't push our buttons, we don't push yours. You know, leave our allies alone. There's a reason why we're protecting Israel so much. And everybody wants to sit there and say it's because the Israel people. Yes, that's got a little bit to do with it. But you guys got to understand here one thing. In Israel, if anybody has ever gone, you guys will agree with me when I say this, it is the Holy Land.
Exactly.
The Holy Land. Okay. Even though Christianity came from Africa, 90% of humanity came from Africa. The Garden of Eden is underwater, but it was in Africa. When that fell and Israel picked it up and started preaching it, that's the Holy Land. That's that is the we could say Mother Russia all we want. No, the motherland is where God is. Where Jesus is. Okay, that's the motherland. Okay, Africa, Israel, that's motherland. Everybody need, you know, and people are like, well, Israel shouldn't have done that. Well, who cares? They're going to protect their people. You attack them, and then they're going to attack back. What do you expect? A little slap on the hand and a candy cane?
Say, well, it should be like that for any country. And I don't denounce any country or I don't deny any country the right to defend themselves. And there's plenty of countries that have nuclear weapons. But they're not. But for the last 40, 45 years, they haven't been spouting death to America and death to Israel and death to this and this and that. That's the reason we didn't want Iran to have nuclear weapons, because we know what they would do with them. Right. Because they don't really care about retaliation. If they can wipe you out, that just them knowing that is good for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why had to be done. It had to be done. And how it was done and with what precision it was done, I tell you, David, impresses the hell out of me what our military can do. And then I thought, well, you hear Trump say we got the best military in the world. And you hear people say, I'm thinking, well, you know, China's got a good military. But I think we do have the best military. We're the only one that has those bombs. Those bombs. We're the only one. We're the only country that possesses that. So I'm thinking, and how they carried that out and how they carried it out in secrecy and how we didn't even know it was happening. I mean, we are the superpower of the world. But that being said, we should not be the policemen of the world either.
No. And I believe that. I believe that 100%. So let's say
not be nation builders. We shouldn't have anything to do with Iran. If they want to make a regime change, and even Trump said that today. He said, look, I'm not looking for a regime change. I'm not looking to change he said, that's for the Iranian people to do. He says, I'm not going in there to change anything or take any leader out or anything like that. And that's something that Bush they were trying to do regime changes. And when they took out Saddam Hussein, they destabilized the whole Middle East, man.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I believe, and not to say Saddam Hussein was an angel,
No, I'm not saying that, but
because
they feared and they kept everybody in check.
He did have a little bit of blood on his hands. He
Yes,
did
he
kill
did.
a lot of his own people.
Yes, he did.
You know, I'm not saying he's a good man,
No,
but what I'm saying is that Saddam Hussein did not have weapons of mass destruction. We went over
no.
there for two reasons. One, to take out a dictator, to change regimes. Two, oil.
Oil.
That's the reason.
Oh, funny. An oil man, president that's an oil man went to go get oil. Oh, it's kind of funny, isn't it?
Exactly. See, it puts two and two together.
It's crazy, man. It's just crazy to look back on all that. It's just like, because and they use 9/11 to distract us from everything. They use 9/11.
They made it all that way undetected.
Yeah, that's just amazing. 2-4. It's just amazing the military might.
As my brother called the stealth bombers, the Iranian people just had the spicy Dorito challenge because the stealth bombers look like Dorito chips. So that's why
they do. Yeah.
And my brother's
that's that precision they did, and what it just. I mean, I think Trump used that too. See, Trump just didn't do this. He did it because he didn't want them to have a nuke and wipe out innocent people and innocent lives being. He does care about all that. He does. I believe that 100%. But he also wanted to show the rest of the world, look, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
This is how we can handle it.
He wanted to make sure Russia, North Korea, China, and
exactly.
everyone else that has some type of hate towards America, that we still have the bombs and we still have the
everything.
balls.
That's
you
right.
know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
Don't push the button.
Yep.
It's like the boy who cried wolf. You sit there and cry wolf for 40 years. Well, the wolf came at your door and you did nothing. You tucked tail and ran.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could cry all you want for as long as you want. Doesn't mean you're trustworthy or believable.
Right.
Okay. You're nothing more than a coward. You run your mouth, and for 40 years, well, you attacked Israel. Israel attacked back. You kept attacking. And look what happened to you.
Yeah.
To each his own. So hold on. Let's bring this up. 2-4. I'm a Canadian that's more patriotic to USA more daily. Good. We love that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that from people around the world. Like I don't know where they were, but they were like, I want to say, did you ever see the video? I think it was in the UK. Did you ever see the video of they had the stage and this big giant crowd, and the guy got up on stage and he says, "Now, crowd, I'm going to show you some pictures on this screen here, and you tell us how you feel when you see the picture." They brought up Hillary Clinton. Boo!
Oh, yeah.
They brought up all these pictures, and when they finally got to the last one, which was Donald Trump, the whole city erupted. That's how much Americans are loved around the world, people.
Yeah. The mainstream media don't want you to think that, but we are. We are loved around the world. We have been for a long time. And because people love America because they look at America like that shining light on, the beacon. They look at that because they aspire to be like us, because a lot of countries don't have a constitution that backs them up. A lot of countries don't have the rights that we have. And they look at us like, man, I was watching something somewhere. It might have been on a live stream. Maybe it was one of my live streams. I don't remember, but they were saying if America falls, then the whole world falls. It's over. It's done. If America keeps going down this path of Joe Biden and the DEI and the wokeness and all that, then it's done for all of us. If the American rights get taken away, if the American Constitution fails, that means the world fails. And that's a big, heavy burden for the United States. But it's true, though. If you really think about it, it's true. If we fail, the rest of the world fails. There's nothing left.
I think there'd be one left, John. I really do. And I think if America fell, I think it'd be a war between China and Russia, and whoever came out on top would be the one who was ruling the world.
Well,
But
thank you.
America would fall. You know, Ray said if I lived in Canada, it would drive me crazy. I would be an illegal because I would come to America.
You
That
know,
is
though,
great.
Canada, I love my Canadian, I love Canada's fine, man. The people there are great. It's just, their
Oh, wow.
government's kind of crazy, but I mean,
Ray said they're saying China warned Iran not to do this. I believe it.
well,
Russia
I think
told him that they're-
China's leader knows Trump and knows that you don't mess with Trump. You just don't mess with Trump.
Russia did say, I do remember Vlad sitting there saying that it's not their war, they're not getting into it.
Yeah.
To see a powerful country like Russia, who you could basically set up the same power struggle between, if there was a war between America and Russia, that'd be a long war.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Okay. Don't get it twisted. America has a lot of great stuff, but Russia has a lot of great stuff too.
They do.
They haven't been quietly sitting back in buildings since the wall fell, since they stopped being the USSR, and being quiet in the corner for all these years for nothing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Damn. They're still the bear. I mean, they're still, yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't- well, even Patton said back when in World War II, he said they killed him. We can get into that. That's another topic. But he said, look, he wanted to go into Russia. He wanted to take Russia out. He said that's our future problem is Russia. He said one day we're going to have to fight Russia. We're going to be in a war with Russia. Let's do it now. And they thought he was crazy, but I believe he's right. I believe at some point people are always talking about China. It's going to be America and China, America and China. That's not where it's going to happen.
No.
If it does come down, it's going to be between America and Russia. That's where it's going to come down to.
Here's one thing America don't have that Russia does, and everybody needs to realize this to keep this in their little war books. America has Siberia, or Russia has Siberia. 90% of their troops train in the middle of the harshest, coldest. All right. They train their soldiers in the most harshest, coldest woodland areas on earth. Train their soldiers. Okay, so 24 said, I felt this way long before Trump started in the Reagan years. Yes, that's and I think I know why you feel that way, 24, and correct me if I'm wrong, bud. You're completely fine on doing that. Because Reagan wasn't a politician either. He was an actor. He was from Hollywood. And he was a Republican, loud and proud. When Hollywood was Republican, loud and proud. So yeah, the same thing they did to Reagan, they're trying to do to Trump. It's just more extreme now than what they did that back then. But they did what they shot Reagan. They actually shot Reagan once, and he survived and tried to assassinate him 2 more times. Yeah, it's crazy.
They almost killed him. He was near death more than what they told the public. He almost died. So
yeah, exactly. So we could Reagan was not a politician, man. Reagan was
it's kind of scary, Dave, when you think about it. You got 2 guys that probably are our best 2 presidents so far. 2 of the best presidents in the United States. There's been other good presidents, but that had ties to Hollywood. That just blows my mind.
JFK had ties to Hollywood.
Exactly. It's crazy, man.
Richard Nixon had ties to Hollywood. It's just crazy. Just think about it. The best presidents ever. The only thing that I hated about Nixon was the fact that he made it legal for people between the ages of 18 to 21 to vote. I think that was my only downfall with Nixon. And the reason is because, and this is the reason why I say that. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't vote at the age of 18 and 19 and 20. What I'm saying to you guys is I know what I was thinking about when I was 18, 19, 20, and it
It
sure in
wasn't
the hell
politics.
wasn't politics.
No. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to say it. I'll say it outright,
I was
Dave. I think
chasing
you should.
women.
Yeah, exactly. I'll say this outright, and that's not to offend anybody that's young or anything, but I think you should be 21 to vote.
Yeah.
And I
I
think you should be, and I think you should have to serve a year or two in the armed services after you turn 18. But that's
think,
just me. That's just my
yeah,
opinion.
I agree with you, but the point, the part about being mandatory to serve in the services, I don't think you should be battle drawn. I think you should serve your training and your time here in the U.S.
No, I think you should go through the steps, go through boot camp, whatever they call it now, and serve and serve. I don't mean that they should go to war. I'm not saying that, but I think they
Right.
should be in the military. I think that, I mean, my son served 8 years. Okay. When he went in, and if he's watching, which I hope he's not, but I thought he'll never make it. He'll never make it. He just doesn't have it. There's no way. But you know what? He went in this weaker kind of, reclusive kid, and he came out better for it. He came out a man. He came out of his shell. He went in skinny and not, not really big or built. He's tall, but he came out a bigger man, just in his stature
Right.
and everything. He just came out a totally different man. And
Right.
it made, I mean, he went to Afghanistan, he was in Iraq, he was in all those places, Kuwait. It made him a better man. And he's a great kid. He takes care of business. He takes care of his family. He works hard. And I think he does that because, there's other kids that do it without going to the military, but the military helped him get to that point. To get to be the man he is. And I think that would be a good thing for a lot of kids. I mean, of course, he's served in wartime, but that's different. But I think that it would do a lot of good for these kids, especially nowadays, to have that structure of the military. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it would do a lot of good because I see it do a lot of good for him and other kids. You know what I mean? It took them from when they went in. I could show you pictures of him from when he went in, and I could show you pictures of him when he came out, and it's just day
Two
and night.
different persons. Two
Exactly.
different people. Yeah. And that's what happened to a good friend of mine, Dan, God rest his soul. When we got out of high school, he went into the Marines and got sent to another unspoken war called Kosovo. And they, for the lack of better terms, they fucked him up. Okay. He came back with Parkinson's.
Oh, shit.
And Parkinson's what took his life.
Oh, man.
So, but yeah, I mean, he went in, recluse dude, and came out, and he was just a total different person. He was more strong mentally and physically, and he basically became a man. So Ray said if Russia was that big, they would took Ukraine already. Yeah, they would have, but you got to look at it like this, Ray. If I have an arsenal, why am I going to waste all my stuff on a country that couldn't swat a fly?
Well, that, Dave, and also, like I said, I believe I said it last night, I don't think they want to move into Ukraine that quickly. They could just go there and bomb and be done with it. But I don't think they want to destroy the infrastructure. I know they've destroyed a lot already, but I don't think they want to destroy the whole country because it's going to cost them a fortune to build it back up. So they're going to take piece by piece, and they're going to take their time. That's one war that I think that Trump's not going to have success with. I know he said in his campaign, as soon as I get in there, I'm going to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Russia is going to take Ukraine. It's just going to be a matter of time. And to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with it.
Right. 2-4 said, I agree, Ray. Russia is way weaker than we were led to believe through propaganda. That may be so. That may be true, but I don't know. Ray said, I will say, I think it should either be mandatory or at least basic training a year.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%.
Ray said, toughen these kids up.
Yep.
Ray also said maybe we wouldn't have so many blue-haired people. Get him, Ray. Stinger dropping missiles on them. Russia had to get the thousands troops from North Korea. Yeah, that I heard about that. You know, I still don't know if that was true or not, but
yeah, I don't know about that.
I heard about that. I haven't researched any of that, Ray, so I can't sit there and say you're a liar because I just don't call people liars. I just say show.
I don't know, you know, so
I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Dave. This is Gen X Unchained, and that's John. John, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I appreciate you stepping in for Moken. Moken, once again, bro, my love and heart out to your family. Sorry you lost your dad. He was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what. If you've seen a picture of his dad and you've seen Moken, they're identical twins. You know, so all Moken needs to do is just grow that beard and mustache out and put his dad's hat on, and he looks just like his dad.
His dad.
Yeah, identical. So, but our hearts go out to you, Moken. We love you, buddy. We miss you, and we'll see you when you get back. John, again, thank you. Everybody watching, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Enjoyed this show. I'm Dave. That's John. This is Gen X Unchained, and we're out of here. Have a good night, guys.
Peace out.